Hey everybody, Corey at Gemini Guitar back for the Patreon exclusive after some technical difficulties yesterday. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It took me 3 times to record and then I got to the 3rd time. I thought that'd be 3rd time lucky, but no, it wasn't. It was 3rd time worst actually. So anyway, filming good today, so we should be right to go. So we're going to go through the octave melody and solo ideas here for the Art of Doom. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start off in the 9th position on string 3. And we're going to be playing exactly an octave higher from the rhythm guitar part, which was at the 7th fret on the 5th string. So what you're learning to do here is essentially an octave harmony, and it sounds really cool. It kind of reminds me of a mixture of sort of Paradise Lost, Iron Maiden, and My Dying Bride. So, which is a pretty good mixture, I think. So we got that note, then we got the 12th fret on the 2nd string for a couple. Going to shift over to the 10th position with the index on the 2nd string. We're going to do this. And then we're going to finish off by picking the 10th, hammering the 12 and pulling the 10. So we get this. Okay, so what we're going to do is focus on the act of modulating here. Now, sometimes modulation is where you'll transpose the intervallic relationship exactly all the way down. So for example, if I did something like this, and then just moved it down a whole step, same intervallic pattern, or up. But in this case, what we're doing is we're going to just go downward one scale tone at a time in the scale. So whereas to begin with, we start on the 9th fret on the 3rd string, which is the E note, and all that stuff. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to move down to the D note and then do a similar sort of idea down there. Intervallically, they're not going to be all the same, but what we're essentially doing is just moving down by one scale tone for every note. So E becomes D, and the B note becomes A. So in the first couple of bits, it would sound like this. The 8th fret there is the G note, whereas in the previous idea, that was the A note. So let's compare the ideas. And in fact, intervallically, this is the same, this part. So a bit like the first idea I was explaining there. And after that, then we go from 8th to 10th in that bar. And then we've got the 12th fret, back to 10 and 8. And I think that one's a little bit different, yeah. So whereas in the 2nd bar of the first idea, which went like this. So you'll notice there we had the C note, then the B note, which are a half step apart from each other. In this case, that's not going to be the case. So the C note moves to B, but the B note moves a whole step down to the A note. So instead of being, it's, yeah. And that's what I mean about, you know, the differences between the intervallic modulation, and then with this one, we're moving down a scale tone at a time. So that bar is going to sound and look like this. So we get 12, 10, 8, pick 8, hammer to 10, pick 8 again. So it's going to sound and look like this. Let's have a look at both ideas now. And then we're going to bring each note down another scale tone. So this time the D note becomes C. And the A note becomes G. Then we're going to shift over to the 7th fret on the 2nd string. So that's 7, 8, 10, 8, 7. And then we're going to pick 7, hammer to 8, pick 7 again, 7 on the 3rd, and then finish with this octave pick through. So it's the 9th fret, 7th fret on 5th. At that point then, the rhythm guitar is going to do a 1-bar line, or just a bar basically, and then we're going to kick into the lead guitar after that. So let's have a playthrough of the first half, and we'll see how we go. The other guitar, I think, did something like this. So if you wanted to include that, you could. It's good, though, to take a break there, though. It gives you a bit of time to prepare for the next bit. We'll look at it anyway. So in the rhythm guitar section, it's going to start at the 8th fret on the 5th. So it's going to be 8, 7, 8. And then 5th on the 4th string. And then we've got the root note. And back to the D note at the 5th fret. So we get... and then 8th on 5th, 5th on 4th. So it's... and at that point then we're into the lead guitar idea. Okay, so this is the fun part, and it's not too difficult, but it's a lot of fun to play through. And it focuses on a pedal point idea to begin with. So what a pedal point is where you take a note that you're always returning to and then changing the notes around that. It's pretty easy to hear this in metal. It's a very common technique. So this time we're going to start the 12th fret on string 1. We're going to pick that pull to open for 2 times actually. So it's... remember that when you pull off, it's not just a matter of lifting the finger, because you're not going to get very much volume. So what you want to do is you want to treat the tip of the finger as more like a pick stroke. And what it does, it sort of flicks off and downward. So we got the pick and the pull. Do the same with the index, fret 7 on the 1st. Fret 8 on the 1st, back to open. And then we're going to go to the 5th fret on the 1st. 8, 7, 8 on the 2nd. So this is going to sound like this. Move over then to the 7th fret on string 1. So you want to slide into that. And then we're going to go to the 8th fret on string 1 and fret 10 on the 2nd string. Now the reason that sounds really cool is because it's being played over the F power chord. So it's invoking the Lydian atmosphere or the Lydian mode. And the reason for that is because we're using that B note to begin with. So from the F root note, say the F root note was here. That's the B note there. That's actually the flat of 5th interval. But in the Lydian scale, that's the 4th scale degree. So you'd have F, G, A, and B. And the reason it sounds the way it does is because all of those 4 notes are a whole step apart. So if you played them on one string, and generally those wider intervals combined, the whole step intervals, they're going to have more of a mystical sort of spacey type of sound because they're wider, bigger. And don't forget that that scale pattern is provided on the in the bonus materials there, so you can check that out. I'll put in the 1 octave F Lydian scale there, and perhaps another one somewhere else so you can practice it there too. But generally, once you get the intervallic structure of the scale, like once you know that, you can basically transfer that anywhere you want, starting on whatever root note you would like. Okay, so for the second run through, basically these 2 bars are going to be the same as what we did to begin the other half of this section. So it's... And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a bit of Phrygian dominant, and it's going to sound really cool. So whereas the rhythm guitar idea, what it did was something to this effect. Sounds kind of ominous. Reminds me of Paradise Lost, My Dying Bride. And that's using the parts of the E Phrygian and Phrygian dominant. And the Phrygian and the Phrygian dominant are very similar. The only difference is that in the Phrygian scale, so we've got the E root note here, just behind the nut, the open string, and over to the F, that's a half step, so that's a minor second. If you've ever seen the movie Jaws, that's the Jaws interval, so it's kind of funny actually. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then from the E note there, over 1.5 steps to the G note, that's a minor third. So we get root, minor second, minor third. It's a bit easier to see when you do it all fretted notes. So E, root, F minor second, minor third. With the Phrygian dominant though, we take that minor third and raise it up a half step and becomes a major third. And basically major you think of as being wider, minor are being a little bit smaller. So they're darker, major's sort of happier and wider. Phrygian dominant tends to have a very Eastern sort of sound to it. And we explored that in the, what was it again? The Spanish Gypsy Scale in the Dark Folk episode. So you can check that out here on the Patreon. There's the scale chart and everything provided for that. So on the rhythm guitar part, what I did, started the minor second G, over to the major third, back, minor second, major third again, minus third. Then we added in a tritone interval, B flat, back to major third, and then resolve to the low E power chord. Not a very predictable way to end something, but I thought it was kind of cool to throw in there. And it does sound good, and like I like to say, if it sounds good, it is good. So essentially what we're going to do on the lead guitar idea is just do the same thing, but we're going to be up like 3 octaves from, I think it's 3 octaves. So we've got about 3 octaves there. So we're going to start the 15th fret on string 1, and we're going to slide into it. So it's, then it's 16, 15, so it's, then we're going to do 18 on the second string. Bend the 15th fret up a half step on string 1. Let it go, pick again. Bend at the 16th up a full step. Whoops, that didn't come out right. Then let it go, pick it. It's actually sounding kind of cool. And then 17th fret to resolve, and that's the E note, fret 17, string 2. Which sounds kind of cool, so we get... So if you combine that with the pedal point idea, it'll sound like this. You can add some vibrato in there at the end. Because I'm playing through the computer, the sustain's not as good, but through an amp it would sound really cool to bring out quite a bit. I think there's a bit of a noise gate on this too. Anyway, that wraps things up for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Check out all the bonus materials because they always help with learning and playing along and stuff. And I'll catch you at the next lesson. Bye for now.